Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Welcome to Office Hours Live. I'm Kamara Toffolo. For those of you who are joining for the first time, I am a resume writer, LinkedIn consultant, and job search strategist who helps established professionals dare to do work differently and land great fitting gigs. I am so pumped for my guest tonight. Katrina Kibben, my friend, is joining us. Katrina is the CEO and founder of 3 Years Media, a firm that helps recruiters write powerful job postings in order to enable better candidate experiences and ultimately attract the right hires. Katrina has written thousands of job postings, so they really know what makes a job posting stand out and what ultimately makes it suck. And as they said on their website, which I love, most job posts suck. So tonight we are going to really dig into job postings, and we're going to just tear some apart and and Katrina is going to give you tons of great advice for your job search. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Katrina into the stream. Hello, my friend.
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm in Canada. Look at me.
You're in Canada. Welcome to Canada. I hope you're not feeling the chill up here, though. It's crazy. I looked outside in my backyard. I think we have about 3.5 feet of snow piled up.
Wow. All right. So advice to Canadians: come to Colorado, because in Colorado we got 10 inches of snow last night and it all melted today. We have 300 days of sunshine. It's pretty amazing.
I am so jealous. And speaking of location, I would love to hear where everybody is tuning in from. Please let us know in the chat where you are tuning in from. We've usually got a global audience here. So we've got Rabia saying hello, Carrie saying hi there, Carrie. Thank you both for joining us, and thank you, everyone. Hello, LinkedIn user. Sorry, your name's not showing up.
I bet you're a friend. Thanks for coming anyway.
That's right. So Katrina, just before we went live, you were talking about or telling me about the 4 things that you wish you had been told prior to embarking on your own job search. So would you mind sharing those 4 things?
Yeah. It was awesome because I literally just hung up on doing a call with this organization called Pass the Torch. And they connect women with mentors. And I love environments like that. And I jokingly said to you, I really love that I get to make my money on recruiting and job posting so that I get to help candidates in my free time. And part of that is being able to translate the job posting into something that's really useful. And I've created this presentation where I identify the 4 things that, if someone had just told me this when I was 21, think what I could have done with my career. I wouldn't change anything, but I'm still, and so those 4 things are the following. The number 1 thing is that you should look at alternative job titles and resumes. So right now, I want everyone to open a second window. Don't you dare close this one. You open the second window, and I want you to type in your job title right now and the word resume and hit enter. Ooh. Then I want you to hit the image search results. And you know what you're about to see? 1 million resume examples, 1 million plus for the exact job you want. And I want you to look at that for 2 things. Number 1, it's a great way to see your path and what your resume should probably look like. It's a really great starting point to just get an idea of what these kinds of resumes look like in your industry. The other piece is the most important piece, I think, and it's the fact that it gives you alternative jobs to search. So job titles are completely made up. Learned that one the hard way by doing a lot of job postings. Mm-hmm. And so when you are searching, you're going to look for alternative job titles. So I want you to really read those resumes. So Carrie, you've Googled your job title and the word resume. You hit enter and clicked on the image search results. You're looking at the resumes. I want you to find 3 to 5 job titles you're not searching right now. Mix it up. That's how you find new jobs. The second piece of advice I always give people is that if you want to know what's most important in a job posting, put it in a word cloud generator. Wordclouds.com is a great free word cloud generator. If you didn't catch that name, just type in free word cloud generator. It will come up. And what you're going to do, so let me give you a little psychology. Most recruiters don't know how to do your job. I'm not calling recruiters stupid, but I'm telling you that they haven't done most of the jobs they recruit for. It's just reality. They fill jobs. They don't do jobs.
Right.
So, I mean, they do a job. So
we know what you mean.
There's no bridging the gap. They'll understand that I really mean this. So you're using the word cloud generator to identify the words they use the most, because psychologically, when we don't know enough, we repeat the keywords that are most important to us. We do it without default. Think about it. If I told you how to do something and you didn't really get it, you would try to repeat the words you heard the most from me when I explained it to you the first time. Same goes for those job postings. Recruiters write just trying to bank on that keyword. Right. You need to make sure that keyword's in your resume. Top 3 to 5 need to be in there at least 3 times each.
Okay.
The next one is, of course, my brain's like, it's been a long day. The next one, LinkedIn. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, tell me about yourself. So tell me about yourself is the question where people go wrong the most. They start to ramble. They start to change the subject. They don't know what to say. And so I give everyone a 3-part formula on how to write that. And very short answer is it starts with intrigue. Something that makes someone go, really? Then it creates a common connection. Just like you, I have been challenged with blah, blah, blah. And the third thing is the call to action. I'm looking for a job doing this. This is what I do. Call to action is the most important part of that, because most people cannot assume what you do, right? And the very last tip is I tell people what recruiters look for in LinkedIn profiles.
Awesome. Yep. High level, what do recruiters look for?
They want to know your story and they want to know where you're going next.
Okay.
And I think most often nobody does the second part. If they do the first part, if they actually tell a story and it's not like experienced nonprofit professionals skilled in blah, 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 which is not a story, by the way.
Right.
They're not out there. So if you hit the story and you didn't do the keyword load, most people never say, I'm looking for a director of marketing job where I can blank. That's what recruiters want. They want it to be obvious what your next step is and for your LinkedIn profile to tell that story.
That makes so much sense. And you're right. Like, not very many people are doing that at all. I love the tips you're giving, and everybody else does too. And Tammy's saying simply amazing, like exclamation. Thanks for sharing, with a bunch of exclamations after that. So thank you, Tammy, for that. Just checking in where people are all coming in from. So we got Halton, Boston, San Fran, Mobile, I think, Connecticut, Minneapolis. So a lot of North American representation tonight. So that's awesome. And Jared says, I hate job ads.
Yeah, me too.
Well, let's talk about job ads. Because, I think a lot of us hate them and are annoyed by them. So first of all, what throws me for a loop a lot of the time is the difference between a job ad and a job description.
Yep.
What is the difference?
Exactly. So there's actually kind of 3 phases, all right? And I want you to think of it as a progression. A job description is a legal document that exists in-house that people are going to refer back to if they need to fire someone.
Okay.
You do not meet minimum requirements. And the number one mistake I see is that people actually just put that on the internet. They put an HR document that belongs in a filing cabinet and use it as a marketing document. That's not what it's supposed to be. You should never see a job description unless you get the job. The job posting is the marketing version. That's what we write most often because it's about driving candidate volume. That's what you should be looking at on a job board or on LinkedIn, Indeed, et cetera, et cetera. So the job post is the one that gives you just enough info to be able to say, yes, I want to do this. Or, hell no, I don't want to do this, right? Nothing else. I'm not selling the job. I'm not trying to over create anything. Yes, I want to do this. No, I don't. That's what happens with a job post. And finally, a job ad is how you market the job posting. So it's an Instagram post. It's a tweet. It's a whatever. And a lot of people use the words interchangeably, but in the reality, that doesn't change the quality at all. That's for sure.
As we will see later. For sure. So Speaking of the quality, why would you say that so many let's start with the postings part. Why do so many suck?
Yeah, because no one was taught to write them.
Mm.
I have quite literally been training teams around the world at this point. I think I'm at 26 countries where I've taught people to write job postings. And I've met maybe 12 people in the entire time that I've been traveling the world doing this that have actually been taught to write a job.
Wow.
That's messed up. That's really messed up because jobs are the currency of recruiting. We cannot hire or fire the right person without that piece of content. Yet somehow everyone made it through their career and all of those hires without ever being taught to write that, or most importantly, know what works. That's a mess.
Wow. 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 I mean, I guess that makes sense. And I guess same goes for resumes too. I don't think anyone's really teaching how to write great resumes other than the people who are in that field. Like you don't walk out of school like, yeah, I really got a handle on my resume. So.
Right. Well, and that's something that I think both of these industries have in common that no one talks about. And it's the fact that there's no education pipeline into our field.
Right.
What school do you go to become a resume writer?
I didn't
go to become a recruiter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you study to become a recruiter or to become a resume writer? Anything. You study work. You study experiences. You live your life. That's how you become, right? And that is both an incredible opportunity for people of all backgrounds to change each other's lives. And simultaneously, it's really, really dangerous because we aren't coming at it from the same place. We don't have the same level of knowledge. And so the experience and the consequence of not having the same level of knowledge is that the experience is drastically different based on what company you go to.
For sure. For sure. As we will see shortly. So yeah, for sure. So what would you say makes a job posting good?
Yeah. So I think that's probably the question I get most often is people trying to get a little free work out of me by slipping a job posting me like, is this good? What do you think? And so
don't do that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So really what I'm looking for and when I say something is good is number one, that it's accurate. It's true, right? Does it describe real things that you do every single day to be successful?
Right.
The next thing that it has to have is less jargon and no acronyms. It doesn't mean the same thing to 10 different people. You shouldn't be writing it. Collaborative is one of those words, by the way. Right? And the other thing that I'm looking for are things that impact diverse audiences. So we know that there are styles and triggers that we take on that have psychological effects on different communities, women, people who are aging, different genders, different sexualities. And so I've been doing a lot of analysis to make sure that those aren't there as well. Let me give you one example.
Yeah.
College degrees when you're 10 years into your career and you don't have a license or certification. College is a privilege, not a right. Everything that went right for you at 18 does not qualify you for a job at 21, at 28, at 38. It doesn't. We need to stop relying on that miscellaneous criteria that's been copied and pasted too many times. The other one is years of experience. If anyone on this call can distinctly tell me the difference between 5 years and 3 years, I'll give you $1 because I have yet to experience anyone who can actually tell me that. What they end up doing is they describe work you have done. That's what you should be writing instead of creating numbers that you pulled out of a hat. Like, this is not the lottery. It's someone's life. Like, please. Right?
100%. I totally agree. And when I'm writing resumes, I'll almost never put years experience on a resume because it means F all, right? It means nothing. So anyway, I'm so glad you brought that up. So just popping over to the chat, we do have some questions coming in. So I have one here that I just wanted to get to. And if you do have questions for Katrina, please do put them in the chat on YouTube. or in the comments on LinkedIn, and we will get to them. So Bridget, I've been listening to recruiters on podcasts, and they say recruiters do not necessarily care about resumes. If this is true, how do you ever get a call back? I haven't heard that before.
All right. I'm going to go first on the whole recruiters on podcasts. Mind you, I'm a recruiter on a podcast right now. I'm technically not a recruiter. I'm a copywriter. I am not a recruiter, just to be clear. I don't fill recs. I want you to take that with a grain of salt, because just because they call themselves a recruiter doesn't mean they're recruiting right now. People who say stuff like that, in most cases, have not placed a role in a really long time, or they only place highly specialized niche roles where only 100 people do this work. And in that case, absolutely. You know what? Trash that resume. There's only 100 of you. I know all 100 of you. I don't need to see any resumes. If you're not one of the 100, you don't need to be here. That's fine.
Right.
It is not true that recruiters don't care about resumes, because it is literally the first screening element. It is the first decision, and it makes their life easier. So whoever that was, don't go on any more of their podcasts. Delete their junk. Don't even go. I don't care who it is. Seriously, if it's one of my friends, screw them too. And I want you to start thinking about your resume as the document you provide to someone to help them fill a job, instead of thinking about it as the document that gets you a call back. I think that simple shift of I help others is going to help you put you in a better position and give you an advantage. And frankly, maybe you help someone. Maybe that's good, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I love that shift. And it is helping. Like, you're helping them make a decision.
Exactly.
You're helping them find the right person to create the solutions for that within that role. So
yes.
I love that.
I always tell candidates, I'm like, do you know how recruiters look for people? Like, do you know what we do? What we did? We open up a massive database of like bajillions of resumes. We type in a word, a mystery word, maybe a job title, and we hit enter. And then we have to go through every single one. If we posted a job, we have to go through every single one that applied.
Right.
Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Unless there's some machine that's doing that, which I have yet to see an accurate.
Haven't seen it.
If you have a great resume that tells me I'm the person, you are helping me. You're not just helping yourself, right? Back in the day, that meant there was just a stack of crap on your desk, and you just sat there and like, that was one of my first jobs was I worked for a recruiting agency that all they did was place telecom people. And we sat there left, right for
like
hours.
Physical paper?
Physical paper. Yes, I'm that old. Physical resume paper.
Wow. Physical resume paper. Because resume paper is a totally different type of paper.
And that paper's legit. I still have a box of it. Thank you, Yvonne. Exactly. I read every resume I get. I do not.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of recruiters, and not one has said I don't care about resumes. And if they did,
I've never heard that. Now I'm so curious. Bridget, can you call the person out in the chat, please, Bridget? Tag them. Like, I really want. Well, yeah. Katrina and I will go have a chat with them. Anyway, I think I missed this is going back to what you were talking about with LinkedIn. So Carrie just asked, would you only tell the story in the about section or continue it into the experience sections too?
Yeah. So Carrie, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your patience too. So I think the about section is your best bet, because when people read LinkedIn profiles, they read it in an F pattern, an F. Okay. So the first thing they're going to scan is your image and your title and whatever you put into that little background. So it has your name, Carrie Stiles, and then whatever you put underneath that. If you pass that test, you get one more scroll. Boop. Next scroll is the about. You have to write something great. In that moment, if they're convinced, that's good enough. And everything else they're looking for is a story that aligns to what they just read. That's it. I think the experiences are important, but it's not something that I emphasize, because I know that the attention span of the person reading this is about this big.
That's it. That's exactly it. When there's an option to read more or expand or what have you, what's the likelihood that someone's doing it? I think that's pretty slim.
It's less than 1%. I was a marketer by trade for the first half of my career. So at 28, I was a CMO of a HR tech company. That was my background. Right. And it's very, very low. That button is one of the least utilized functions by customers ever created by a marketing department. You know they create a lot of junk.
Less than 1%. Okay. Well, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
That's a great answer. All right. So just wanted to, maybe we should, did you want to jump into the job postings and see if we can tear some apart? All right. Let's do this. I'm just going to bring it up here. Let's hope I don't have any problems. As you guys still continue to have questions, please do put them in the chat. We will get to them after, but you got to see some of these postings, guys. Like,
and by the way, Bridget, seriously, tell me that person's name, because I actually know the head of talent at Amazon, and I will get them in trouble. Go.
That's right. That's right.
I know people. I know things.
All right. Here we are on an HR manager job posting. So one thing I'm noticing in LinkedIn when I was going through job postings and doing my research for tonight is that there's a lot of job postings which are just like a big blob of text, like word salad, like this one.
Yes.
What's going on?
I think what's actually wrong with this is not necessarily the blob of text. It's the fact that it's all about them.
Oh.
Right? Who takes a job because you want to make the company great? Like, you take a job because you are good at that, because you want to create that impact, because you want to do those tasks every day. You do not take a job because they were founded in 1959. Like, literally, they just wasted about 250 words on trying to tell someone they're great. And the reality is most people have a little bit of a sniff test, where when you read something like this, you're like, you're selling me a little too hard, and there's a reason. Like, I know you're selling this because it probably sucks.
Right.
You don't have to sell so hard when your company doesn't suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Such a good point. I mean, like, does Amazon even have to write job postings, you know?
Barely.
At this point.
Even for warehouse jobs.
Right. So, let's say this was a great employer, and I redacted the name because they are pretty well known. And I can see people wanting to work for them. What the hell do I take away from this if I wanted to apply to be their HR manager?
Yeah. So I would do the word cloud really quick to capture some of the keywords. I'm going to guess the keywords are dance and training. That's what I'm seeing just as a very, very quick scan. And so you probably either want to show some personal interest in dance, or you want to talk about how you've managed a large group of people who have a lot of different interests. This is what's really cool about this is that intrigue, right? So we talked about tell me about yourself, and you always have that point of intrigue first.
Yeah.
If you have that, if you're a dancer who's working in HR, that's a really interesting point of intrigue, and one that I would incorporate before applying to this job.
That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. And so if we're trying to add in, you know, our HR specific qualifications, is that where we go to your advice, your point number one, which is we're looking for our alternative job titles and how those might read?
Yeah. Ultimately, this doesn't give you a lot of intel to be able to tailor your resume, but beyond those two keywords, right? That's what the word cloud generator is for, is to give you the keyword.
Right.
What you need to show is how you can manage something of this scale and scope. I think that's something that a lot of people forget, and you can find that on the internet, even if they don't give it to you in the posting. So you're going to Google the company name. You're going to search how many employees, right? Because that's who HR is responsible for, employees. Right. So that's how you tailor your resume, is to that company size in this case, not necessarily the content here, because they didn't give you anything.
They did not. They did not. This was like, I was excited when I saw this one, because I was like, wow, this is the worst one I've seen in about a month.
No, I'm like, in most cases, I'm all for no bullets, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't even know what this person does every day. All right. And I work in this world.
Yeah, I'm not gathering anything at all from this, and yeah, it's just a blob, and my eyes started to bleed too. So
Welcome to my life.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna scroll up to the next one. This may require me to scroll a lot. So
problem number 1, way too long.
yeah. Okay, so this is I redacted the company name because they're a really big company. And I was surprised that they came up with a posting that looked like this. So it is like a retail sales rep role. So I'll just scroll slowly.
Yeah, so let's start there. A retail sales rep has one qualification: stand there and talk to people. Literally, that's all you have to be able to do this. Why did they use 1,600 words to try to explain this job?
Seriously.
Come on. And you said they're a well-known brand. So to me, you don't have to do any company selling when you're well-known.
Yeah.
Do you think Amazon has 6 paragraphs about why you should work at Amazon?
No.
Hell no. Facebook? Nope. Oh, and I love this responsibility section. You literally stand there and talk to people.
Yeah.
You even exceed sales plan. No, you don't. You're like part of a huge team that's hitting numbers, right?
Yeah.
This is a great example of way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. I'm also noticing a ton of buzzwords. Capture meaningful customer data. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
What even?
And my issue with buzzwords, I am not the god of words. Someone said that to me on YouTube. I took a lot of offense to it. So I'm like, what? I don't care what you say, but I want you to use words that have universal meaning.
Yeah.
And here's what I mean by universal. I can say the word to 10 people and they all know what it means.
Right.
That's a baseline. And proactive strategic outreach, position, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, what does that mean at all?
Exactly. So on one hand, it's good because it has way more than the last one, and you can use the word cloud generator to identify the keywords, and it'll probably be a lot more effective than our previous example.
Right.
However, this is too much. So to the recruiters who are watching this isn't good because you wrote about, so if it's 1,600 words, you wrote about 1,400 more words than you needed.
They're treating it like an essay. They got to make that word count.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Show, do not tell. Exceptional level of sales performance. No. Again, doesn't mean the same thing to everyone. What does exceptional mean? Exceptional means that you could manage 10 accounts a day, or you get quarterly renewals on 10 or more accounts, and you can follow up with a lead flow of 50 per day. That is detail. Nice. I know what that is. That's what I want to see on your job posting. And you know I hate that degree section.
Yeah, hello. And this graduate gemologist degree. What?
What is preferred? You know what is preferred really means in plain English? Is preferred means we have a bunch of people who don't have it, but they've been successful anyway. That's what preferred qualification means. It means other people have been successful without this. So ignore it if you're a job seeker. Don't even read that section. It's not worth your time.
Oh, that's an important note. I've always wondered about the preferred qualifications. So just pass on by.
Pass it on by and apply anyway. Because I got to tell you, the second I see preferred qualifications, I cringe a little. Because to me, that says you just created the bias list.
Oh, yes.
The rich kids have this. The wealthy people have this. The people with the best pedigree have this.
Right.
Your pedigree, that doesn't create success.
Such a good point. Yeah. Well, that's a great tip. That'll save people a lot of stress and time and energy, I think.
Apply anyway. When in doubt, apply anyway. Screw it. It doesn't matter.
Good. Love it. So this is a fun one.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on spelling errors in a job posting?
They're lazy. I'm sorry. Proofread.
Yep.
My favorite, my proofreading example that I always use is a shit leader that works at Taco Bell. Right?
Yeah.
1F. You are only one typo away from being the shit leader. And I will never forget the first time I presented that to a
Yeah.
group. It was actually a government agency out of the state of Ohio. And if any of them are watching, hi. And they argued for probably 15 minutes about who the shit leader was. No, I'm the shit leader. No, I'm the shit. I definitely am the shit leader. Do you see my email? Da, 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 da. Like, it was the best. Most hilarious.
That's
So
awesome.
no typos. Grammarly, people. Grammarly. It's cheap. It's useful. It'll give you synonyms and options for your words if you're not hitting the right vocabulary. It'll mix it up for you. I love Grammarly. I use it all the time. It's my favorite tool. So this one, it's good in one way. It's good in that they're actually describing experiences you have had that would help you get this job, but they haven't given us enough. Like,
Okay.
these are still too broad. Turn business objectives, ideas, or themes into a marketing action. Okay. You work fire protection. I imagine that's pretty niche. Like, I imagine it's not the same as when I worked at monster.com and I could just like post stuff on Facebook and everybody knew who we were. What are your business objectives? What are the marketing actions? The question, recruiters who are watching, the question you would ask the hiring manager who sends you this is you say, in 6 months, if this person was very successful, what will be happening then that's not happening today? When they start to describe that, what they're going to say next is, we would have 5,000 leads in our database. We will have this. We will have this. That's what I want to see here. That's the next layer. And as a job seeker, if you're seeing this, I hope you have a lot of questions. When that recruiter contacts you, I want you to turn this into a list of questions. So for example, using creative expression throughout our core values of safety first. 1, team spirit, customer centric, accountable, continuous improvement in every communication. Ugh.
I know, garbage.
Okay. But your question to them is, where do your values come from? Why is safety first your first value? You know, I very rarely hear that. Why'd you found the company? I'm guessing because this is so short, this is a small company where you could ask questions like that.
Yes.
If you only have a little bit of intel, use that little bit of intel as the exact questions you ask, and use your resume as the story you tell that proves you've done every single one of the questions you're about to ask.
Love it. Love it. So yeah, this actually gives us more than I initially thought.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like reading between the lines in a sense.
Always.
Yeah.
Because think about it. They don't know what they're doing, right?
Clearly.
And again, it is not recruiter bashing. I get
Right.
it. You weren't taught. We weren't taught to write resumes. So really, we're just in this conundrum of cluster effery where nobody knows what the other one wants and it's just messy. That's okay. We have to accept that first. And that means it's our responsibility, recruiters, to be explicit, to be clear, to be concise. And job seekers, you use it as a little bit of grace, but also use it as your tool. Use it as your baseline because they posted it for some reason. I don't know that they thought it was good necessarily, but they posted it. So
they clearly need help.
They need someone.
They need someone for something.
Yep. Your other option, and a friend of mine did this last week. She went ahead and called. Hey, I don't really understand the job from the posting. Can you explain it to me? And that's how she got the interview. The guy said, hey, we actually just started our first round of interviews. I can explain the job to you today. If you send me your resume, I'm happy to include you in the round of interviews. And that's how she got in.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That really like they probably wanted a critical thinker and that they're, you know, she did it right there. Good for her. And initiative. Yeah.
Good and not just showing them she wanted the job, but that she wanted to understand.
Yeah.
And be successful.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big move.
Yeah. Good for her.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
I
it.
thought it was ballsy. I was like, you did what? And then she told me she did the interview, and I was like, okay, do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. That's awesome.
Can you
Scrolling.
do Yvonne's question really quick? Because I have a
Oh,
feeling.
sorry. Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
She's asking about mandatory requirements, and we were just talking about that.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay, so people have lied to you about OFCCP. This is US only. So in the US, there's a law for compliance jobs. If you have any federal contract, you have to follow a certain policy as far as posting your jobs.
Right.
However, that is a requirement of the job description, not the job posting. So the job description can have your mandatory, your rated requirements, your must-haves, your nice-to-haves. Everything that's required should be spelled out explicitly in that document. The thing that I tell people is that I rely on minimums in that document to allow me flexibility for my diverse pipeline, number one. And number two, when you write the job posting, it does not have to say the exact same things. It does not have to have every single one of those things. It just cannot conflict with the content that's on the other one. So it can't be conflicting. You can't say 5 years on the description and then say 3+ on the posting. But you could say 5 years on the description and then on the posting say you've had the following experiences and just list those out that would qualify in your mind 5 years of experience. So again, it does not, your posting does not have to follow all those requirements. It just cannot conflict with the legal version of this document, the job description.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And that's why so many people have those job postings where you're like,
yeah.
I call it, I posted something jokingly last night that I was hitting the age where when I have to sign up for things, it's like the Wheel of Fortune on the age wheel. Like,
yeah. I've been there a few years already.
That's how the job postings get so long, is people try to follow this compliance rule that isn't actually a rule.
Got it. Well, this would explain that maybe.
Yeah.
And this is a Canadian posting, so I don't. Anyway, so this is for an executive assistant, and they want everything under the sun.
Of course they do, right?
Yeah.
An executive assistant, we're going to pay you pennies on the dollar, and then we're going to hand you $1 million. Oh, you need a sixth sense. You actually have to be transvoyant to do this job. That's good. That's good. A master of the calendar. Driven by achievement. Does that mean that you got the participation trophy or that you actually won? I'm curious.
You know, this surprised me knowing the employer. This is a very well-known employer that I thought was forward thinking.
I'm sure they think this is good.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's part of the problem. I'm confident to you if they were watching this or they came to me with this, they'd be like, we just overhauled our job postings. Would you mind taking a look? And they would pull up something like this. I'm dead serious. This is my life.
Well, and here we go.
Yeah. The reason it's not good is because you're not giving examples of the work they have done that would prepare them for this role.
Right.
It's not about the future. It's about what you would have done to prepare. So instead of saying provide confidential executive support to executives or your future duties and responsibilities, two options. You could say, here's what you'll do every day. Or here's what you'll need to be successful.
Right. Right.
Wouldn't that be great? The job seekers I want you to comment yes if it would just be so amazing if somebody would just tell you what they're looking for in a job posting. Go ahead and type yes.
Type yes.
Just once or twice, I think, right? That's what I want to see here. So it's not provide confidential executive support for executives. It's you've been the confidant for an executive who relies on you to keep private material private.
Right.
That's better. It's better, period. Because then I can picture it and I go, yep, did that. Yep, did that. Yep, did that. And I feel confident when I'm applying. And when you get my resume, you're going, yep, they did that. Yep, they did that. Yep, they did that. You're in.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Like they can picture it. Same goes for the resume. We're painting a picture. So vice versa. Yeah. Oops, I think I lost.
I tell people it should be a story you can imagine living. A job
Yes.
posting is a story you can imagine living. That's the level of detail I want. I want you to be able to read it and be like, I did that. That was Tuesday.
Yep.
Right? That's when it's good. I also
Oh,
love this technical skills section. Who does not know how to use Word in
I
the
just,
year of our Lord, 2021?
it's just such a waste of space, no?
Exactly. Also, I mean, think about this multiple directions here. Who doesn't know how to use Word? Direction 1. Who doesn't know how to what? And who searches Word to find a job? MS Word, enter. Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody. Ever.
Oh
Ugh.
man. Yeah, it's so frustrating. And we're not going to look at them, but like I sent you a couple CEO postings earlier, and on there it asked for Microsoft Word. And I was like, you've got to be joking me.
Well, the best part on those postings, and I know we're not going to show them, but half of them were like, will lead company. And you're like, what was the alternative job where it was the option to like be behind the scenes? What?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I can't do it. I can't do like I just can't believe it. Anyway. Uh
Security clearance for an admin, right? Yvonne, this is insane.
yeah,
Insane.
I don't get it. Anyway, let's head up to another one here. I'm just gonna back out a bit here. No, that still doesn't do it. In any case.
Yeah. So Carrie just asked, if they're still asking for words, should I put it on my resume? No. You don't need to do that. That's wasted space for you, especially if you're in a field. I think 10 years ago, and you know this better than I do, so I would actually defer to you for the answer. But 10 years ago, it wasn't assumed that everybody was tech savvy. Like that wasn't a baseline. Now we live in the Rona. Like everyone has been kicked out of their office and forced to plug in. I think my technical baseline is much higher now than it ever was before.
100%. The technical baseline now is, can you use SharePoint? Can you use Microsoft Teams? Can you use the entirety of the Google Suite or Google Workplace or whatever they call it now? You're right. The baseline is much higher. Can you use Slack? Like all those things. Anything that enables collaboration. All of that has different meanings to everyone else. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So this job posting, yeah.
All right. The first thing I notice is that they actually put a salary range on there, and that's a really good thing. I think we have to start talking about salary ranges because
I agree.
Who's taking a job without actually knowing how much it pays? Nobody. I don't understand how that gets missed.
Yeah.
My issue on the quality side of this one is that they talk a lot more about what they're looking for instead of your impact on a company. A business development customer representative has a significant impact on a business.
For sure.
You build renewals. You create customer baseline. You drive revenue. Why are we talking about confirming scheduled appointments? Like those are tasks and to-dos. They're not the things we put first. The other thing that I would guess about this role is that it's a high volume, low retention job. They probably hire a lot of these people and let go of a lot of these people every year. And so the thing that I would say looking at this is that they missed out by leading with the why people quit line. When you write a job post for a high volume, low retention role, this is recruiter advice, and I'm going to translate for job seekers in just a second. When recruiters write it, they are basically, we should be telling you why you quit and making you apply anyway. If you apply anyway, after I tell you why 100 people just quit, I know you might stay. That matters. And literally what you ask the manager is, why do people quit? And then you write that in the first 2 sentences because I want you to opt out early. That is our gift to the candidate, is to tell them early on why it might suck and why they shouldn't do it. Now, if you're a job seeker reading this, It's very helpful because basically what that first paragraph is a list of things that you should just copy and paste into your resume. Verbatim.
Yeah.
Reschedule no-show customer appointments. Confirm scheduled appointments with future. I would bet they actually took someone's resume and that's how they created this, the way it reads. It reads like a resume, doesn't it, to you?
It reads like a bad resume, yeah.
Not a good one.
Yeah, it reads like a bad resume.
That first paragraph, copy and paste every single one and ignore anything else on this page unless it's helpful to you.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And use your strategies that you were talking about earlier to actually get some good like content for your resume.
Yep. And the other piece,
all in addition to these duties, but
yeah, the other thing that I would say to you is we talked about the job title earlier, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a bunch of customer service jobs on your profile, I would rename them to customer representative. Right?
Yes.
It's a vernacular, it's a vocabulary thing. Don't get yourself kicked out of a process because you didn't use the exact same keyword that they did.
Right. That's a really good point. Yeah, and you do have the ability to take creative license.
Yes.
Yes.
Please do.
Yes.
Well, again, we're starting from the two places, right? We've already shifted our perspective that me, job seeker, I'm here to help the recruiter. I'm going to give you a resume that tells you I'm the one.
Right.
I'm helping you. Here's the other piece. They still don't know what they're looking for, right? They still haven't been taught this. And so you're, again, just making that one-to-one match, making it more and more clear for the other side of this equation that you're the one.
Love it. Love it. All right. Let me just check in on the chat. Just want to make sure we're not missing anything. Looks like there's some comments going on. If you have any questions for Katrina, please do put them in the chat or in the comments on LinkedIn. Also, give this a like or a reaction on LinkedIn. That would be awesome. All right, let's look at a job description.
That's definitely a description, yes.
Yeah, so
in a filing cabinet. That's step number one.
Yes. So so this I was tipped off by Sweta. She pointed this out to me from the same employer. She made a video and posted it on Twitter. She's like, what the hell? It was just a job description, but that's what they posted for their job posting. So what gives?
They don't know the difference. Is usually part of the problem. The other piece is that this is an education or a department of a big college, university, etc. Oftentimes they believe that they have to follow certain rigor around university job postings. And again, that's not real. Stop following rules that don't work for you. If it's not working, don't do that. You don't have to be like everyone else. That's not the goal of creating content. And so when I'm looking at this, the job title alone tells me that this is way too much information.
Yeah.
If this is maybe a junior mid-level job,
yeah,
how is it 3 pages long?
Yeah.
And again, this is a great document for making sure that you can fire someone if you need to. Right. It has all these details and all this other stuff. Like the reason they write excellent oral communication is because if you have a communication issue, it's a nice big bucket for you to fall in. You know?
Yes.
Ability to work effectively as part of a team. If you have team issues, they can use that as a bucket of experience required. And the crazy part is I read the experience required and I was like, there's actually, again, only one thing that you actually have to do. Proficiency using graphic design software. That's like, you could not do the job if you can't do that, right?
Right.
Everything else is pretty flexible. Even the part where they say, access to a vehicle. No.
What is up with that? Like,
that's privilege. That's bias.
That's such a good point. Because, like, if you are, say, an on the road type of salesperson, is that a valid requirement or no?
100%, because your job is literally to visit customers.
Okay,
your job is not to attend meetings.
Right.
And I would imagine that is a unique scenario, not an everyday scenario.
Mm.
And if it's a required experience, you should need it to be successful. To be successful, you have to be able to attend the meeting or special invite. You do not have to have access to a vehicle.
Right. Yeah, that's weird.
It's bias.
Yeah,
It's
I see it.
privilege bias.
Yeah,
Because you're basically
100%.
saying if you don't have the money to buy a car, you can't do this job, and that's not true.
Right. Ugh. Now I'm mad.
I know. Exactly. That's how I feel every day. Every single day I get sent some posting where I'm like, wow, you have gone so far out of your way to tell everyone what you're not supposed to be and who you're not supposed to be that you've like screwed with people. You've taken people who are willing, not just want, are willing to change their whole lives for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you sat there and you were like, I'm going to set up this obstacle and then this one. And then you can leap over this tree. Then you can go under the tree. Screw you.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Screw you indeed.
Yeah. You're catching my end of day. So my filter's slow.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. No, I love it. Yeah, anyway. So another, okay, this one's hard to see, but okay, this is for an assistant professor in School of Business.
Yeah.
And this is the job posting.
Right. So this is another case of I think people are following the rules instead of following what's right. When we're looking for a great educator, we're not just looking to be like, it's tenure track, it's this, it's top rank, we're great, you're going to do this. That's not how we make decisions. And so what I want to see here is why you.
Yeah.
Right? This job exists at every higher education university, in theory, right? Every higher education university that offers this degree track has this job.
Right.
That is, it is safe to say that. Why have you not told me one thing that makes you actually special? Because let's just be very, very clear. Top ranked is not it.
Right.
I will never get that. Like, who did that? Top ranked. Come on.
According to who? Like,
exactly. And I don't change my whole life because you won an award.
Right.
I change my whole life because you're going to give me a job I want, because I get to do more work I want, because it's in a location I want, because. Mm-hmm. And the only way that you get that answer as a recruiter is asking people who have the job, why do you stay? It's that simple. Why do you stay? Because I know plenty of professors who will leave a tenure track job because they have bigger dreams, because they have bigger aspirations for their research. That's what it should be here. Why do you stay?
Such a good point. Love it.
Yeah.
That was the last one. Wow.
I love it.
You can tell that you do this for a living.
Once or twice. Well, have I ever told you the story of how I even got into this? Is that I was on a webinar and they asked me to like teach anything. And I taught job postings, but from a very tactical, like educated standpoint of like, I'm a marketer. I know great content on the internet.
Right.
I present this whole thing. And at the very end, I'm like, I'll write your job post for free if you contact me. Okay, here's the catch. This was a big event.
Okay.
Global. 300 people contacted me in 30 minutes.
What?
And then I had 600 people by the end of the day. And it kept going. And I'm stubborn enough. Like, I'm an Army brat and I'm just me. And I did every single one. I set meetings with every single person. I even hired people to come in and do these postings because I never wanted to be a teacher who didn't know how to do.
Of course.
And that's what you're witnessing right now is the fact that I've done this with every industry, every kind of job, every level at this point, and not much surprises me. But the thing that surprises me is how little job seekers know about how to use that intel or how to use it to their success when there's a lot more than meets the eye.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the job seekers on the call tonight are walking away with tons of new ideas for how to tackle crappy job postings, and how actually what I thought was the crappiest job posting gave us the most information.
Because it was something we could use.
Yeah.
There's always something you can use, whether it informs your resume, it informs your application, it informs your interview. There's something there for you. You just have to look a little more closely. Or it's there's not enough there, and it's the thing that lets you open the door to making a phone call.
Yeah. I love that. I love that story.
Yeah.
I love
Real
that story.
Like, we know the person on Twitter. Rachel Ryan, I will give you a shout out right now. I know she's probably not watching, but that's how she got an interview for a really incredible videographer job. So this is
Rachel, way to go.
Yeah.
Good for you, Rachel. That's incredible. That's awesome. What a way to stand out.
Exactly.
In a job where you are creating solutions that are supposed to stand out.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Right? Awesome.
The funniest part was that the admin told her that she couldn't have his phone number, but she could have his email address. And I'm like, what? Huh? She emails the recruiter and he calls her back. You got to love that. So don't let gatekeepers stop you. That's the moral of that story. If the gatekeeper tells you only get one way, know that you'll get another opportunity to talk to them. Good advice. Awesome. Just checking and make sure there's no other questions. Sandy just says, I dislike seeing a requirement where you have to type, yes, Sandy, yes. I hate that requirement as well. And I have seen it, like the last time I saw someone putting that skill on their resume, they were an MBA. And I was like, why? I mean, I personally missed my calling as a court stenographer. I'm a very, very fast typer that I learned because back in the day when we didn't have transcription technology, I was a transcriptionist. And so, yeah, Sandy, I get it. I totally get it. But again, I think the technology line is higher. If I'm seeing people asking for words per minute on a job post, I would expect that company to be very old school.
Yes. I agree. I haven't seen it on a job posting lately.
No, me either.
But I've seen it on resumes, and the last one was that MBA.
I think that's a good point that we probably haven't touched on is like a job posting is a reflection of the culture, whether companies know it or not, right?
Yes.
And so that's the other layer. It's not just about the work you do, but you could probably tell something about them based on the way they talk about the work. Great example, the executive assistant.
Yep.
I would bet you money that's an overworked, underpaid job. Because the list of requirements, right, is obscene for the amount of experience or work you're supposed to have done up to that point, right?
Yeah.
They probably expect obscene amounts of work from you that you're not qualified to do once you get in there. Those postings are little insights into the psychology. You just need to look a little bit harder.
I'm really glad you brought that up because I am a big believer that you do yourself a favor by kind of like self-selecting out of the process for certain employers and certain jobs. Yes. It's not to be rejected is often a gift.
Yeah.
Or to take yourself out of the running is a gift to yourself. Yeah.
Yep. Because really, I think there's a volume of rejection that anyone can handle. I was on that last call, right? And this girl is telling me that she's been laid off since August and she's not gotten one call, not one interview. And I had to say, something's wrong with your resume, period. If you have applied to hundreds of jobs and you have not heard back once, something's wrong. And the second I saw her resume, I was like, it's that, right? And I think that's the point where if you're going on 6 months of no responses, no interviews, you need to phone a friend.
Yeah.
You need to call an expert. I don't know which side you're on in the Brady Bunch window, but this one, and get some help, get that insight, have someone else take a look at the jobs that you would love and the resume that you're using to apply.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about 3 years before I let you go. What is new and exciting at 3 Years Media?
Yeah. We're still doing a lot of the job post rewrites, but I think our newest, I'm most excited about that research study I just told you about, because it's turning into a team training, a webinar, a hiring manager training, and a workshop for HR that's all about how to delete bias from your job postings.
Oh.
And I'm really, really excited to be able to do that, because it's not only investing in your team, it's investing in the future and who you want to be. Mm-hmm. And that's been the shift, since June of last year. I think there's been a massive shift in our collective consciousness of what's happening and what our companies look like. And I'm really excited to be able to create something that's developing the pipeline that will bring those people to the right place where they belong.
That's super exciting. I'm so excited to see that unfold. That's wonderful work. I'm so happy to hear about that. And where can people best reach you or follow you?
Okay, so I'm literally the only Katrina Kibben in the whole world. So if you spell my name right, you'll find me. Can guarantee it. But if you don't, the name is 3 Ears Media, and it's all spelled out. It's like up here, down here, everywhere. And it's a company named after 2 dogs with 4 ears. And I will tell you that whole story if you reach out and you want to talk.
That's awesome. That's quite the incentive. And I have linked to Katrina's website, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, something else. Can't remember. All in. What's that?
Probably like a blog or something. I write stuff.
Blog, maybe something. Something is. I feel like there were 5 links that I put in. Anyway, it's in the description of the YouTube video if you're on YouTube, and of course, Katrina is linked on the LinkedIn post. So thank you everyone for joining us. If you could give this a reaction or a like before you leave, that would be awesome. Thank you, Katrina, so much for all of the great insights. I learned a ton tonight. And I'm super excited, and it's really going to inform what advice I give to my clients going forward. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining. We will see you next Thursday. Take care.